There's no denying that the Sega Genesis did a lot of good in the industry. It showed a generation of gamers what competition can do over Nintendo, and brought us a war that is the stuff of legend nowadays. But by 1995, those days were going by fast as a new generation of consoles was on its way, and all the top gaming companies were ready to make the jump, including Sega. Somewhat. Even though Sega was getting ready to release the Saturn by this time, they were still focused on the Genesis and keeping it alive with new accessories and even boldly going where the system never went before. Portable. It's the Sega Nomad. You would be right in thinking that this couldn't have been done until later, like this could have been the official answer to the Superboy. But Sega knew how to innovate and figured out how to give us this wandering Genesis. The Sega Nomad was released on October of 1995 as the handheld equivalent to the Genesis. Now this handheld wasn't just thought up out of the blue, as it was remade from their Japanese Megajet that acted just like the Nomad but was only used for Japanese airlines years before. But now it's finally left Japan and flew ashore to the States. Not even jet lag could stop this traveler. Now let's take a closer look and see what Sega had cooked up. To the left we have this circular D-pad that could be more on the lines of a C-pad, but it looks like a combination of both and works really well. We also have the speaker that can play these 16-bit tunes adequately in my opinion. Even though it may come across as a little crammed in, I think it does its part. I don't know about you, but this line makes me think I can take this apart and use it like a Joy-Con. On the right we have the A, B, and C buttons, as well as the X, Y, and Z buttons, successfully replicating the 6-button Genesis controller with a more oval shape to them. The gray buttons will be of use for your average games, while the additional black buttons will add more to the complex games. There's also this low battery light that serves an important use, and we'll get back to that later. The screen, as you saw earlier, can play those 16-bit games like it was nothing. It may be smaller, but it's still able to show the hedgehogs, dolphins, and scorpions no problem. Below it is the logo for the Nomad, or is it the Genesis Nomad? It's a bit unclear how to properly call it. I prefer just Sega Nomad over Sega Genesis Nomad. Otherwise I may get confused. Can't forget to mention the mode and start buttons that do the obvious starting and the not so obvious moding. It just changes the controller type from 3 to 6 buttons. On the bottom we have the volume adjuster, a green headphone jack, the brightness adjuster for the screen, and a second controller port. That's right, you'll be able to take the Nomad to a friend's house and play 2-player games. Although that could cause trouble for both players to see the tiny screen, it would make it easier to sucker punch your friend at close range once he ruins your kill streak. If you want to end your friendships anyway. On the back is the big Sega battery compartment. The Nomad takes 6 AA batteries and can last merely 2 hours, which is the worst out of any battery life for any handheld in the 90s. I mean, I get that this would need to take a great amount of juice as it is a portable Genesis, but this battery life doesn't make it as portable as most would like it. Now it's more on the lines of the Vectrex, where you can take it anywhere, but would have to be restrained by the AC adapter. Speaking of which, the AC adapter plugs in here, right next to the power switch. To the right of that is the cartridge input, where you can insert your Genesis titles, and maybe notice the slanted shape that the Nomad actually has. Not entirely sure why it's like this. Are they saying my left hand is bigger than my right? Not sure, but it adds to its edge, or slant. Now the final thing on this system in need of pointing out is the AV out jack. For some that have been paying attention in other videos, you may know that this input is used to connect consoles to the TV. And that's exactly what this does, believe it or not. For when you connect to the RCA jacks on the TV, you can have another screen to show onlookers your gameplay, or player 2 have his own screen. This was way before the Wii U or Switch could tout doing the same thing, albeit differently, but the marketing was right all along. Nomad does what Nintendo didn't come up with until 2012. For games, the Nomad plays most Genesis titles, and I say most because there are a few exceptions, but that won't stop you from enjoying Road Rash, NBA Jam, Vectorman, and many other great titles. It won't able to play any Master System, Sega CD, or 32X games as the peripherals won't fit anywhere, but other accessories can work like the Mega Mouse or the Sega Channel cartridge. If you want to put a dead service cartridge in your Nomad, you'll be able to, but that's as far as you can go. The Sega Nomad is an innovative handheld for its day, being able to transform its cousin console into a portable block that you can play on the go if you have a quadrillion batteries. Sure, it wasn't the first, as NEC beat them to it with the Turbo Express, but this is the easier one to find at a reasonable price. And if you so happen to find a Sega Nomad out in the wild, you should pick it up, so you can travel great distances with Sega's 16-bit machine by your side in the confines of your home. Because that's as far as you're gonna get when you plug it into the wall. It's the Sega Nomad. It's a shame that Sega dropped the system after 4 years to focus on their consoles, but times do change and technology evolves in time. And that's exactly what we're doing after 2 years and 30 episodes. It's time to shake things up a bit. And on the next episode, we'll see how a partnership between NEC and Hudson Soft took 8-bit graphics of the day and turned on the turbo.
If you think I missed anything, please leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you think others could get knowledge out of this, share this video. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Now if you'll excuse me, nostalgia is calling.